Alright, we have everyone here, so I will call tonight's meeting to order, select board meeting, it is 6 p.m. We are meeting in the lower level of the Rutland Public Library. We are on Zoom. We are being live streamed for local cable access, and we should be recorded for YouTube posting. Before we get started, if we could stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, jumping in, we have approval of Treasury Warrant 26-7 and 26-PW7.
Move that we approve, Treasury Warrant 26-7 and 26 PW7.
Second. Oh, Alex, you can have it.
Sure.
Okay, motion and a second, any questions? Just for,
Any out anomalies or out?
There was one, the Central Tree Middle School sprinkler system repair bill came due. That was money that was encumbered from the school left over last year. Project was completed in August before school opened, so that project's closed.
Okay. Thank you.
any other questions? All right, motion and a second, roll call, Alex,
Second, aye.
Wait a minute.
That's a,
and Ledger, aye. And we just have one set of regular meeting minutes for our September 15th, 2025 meeting. I will entertain a motion.
move that we approve the meeting minutes for September 15th, 2025, a regular meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second, any questions? Comments, edits? And roll call, Alex,
Alright.
Second, abstain.
Wait a minute.
That's a,
and Ledger, aye. Thank you, Tamika. You're welcome. All right, we will move right into, we have a couple of public hearings tonight. I don't know if we have, Kim, she's not, probably not gonna be on, okay. The first two are actually for the same entity. But I will open the public hearing for our first pursuant to MGL Chapter 138. We're holding a public hearing tonight on the application of KP and ML Incorporated, DBA Mito, for a new common vic license application for a Chinese-Japanese style restaurant at 79 Main Street. Tamika, do you have any, everything is good for this one?
Yes, so this restaurant is gonna be located in the Family Farms Plaza down on Main Street. The location was already set up as a restaurant, and so they're making some changes, some small changes inside. And she's hoping to open in late October, early November. She is also tonight applying for a liquor license. We don't anticipate that process will be finished until early next year. But in the meantime, she's gonna open for food and takeout.
Any comments, questions?
Question to the chair. So this is going into the same facility as Family Farms already has? Is that what you're saying?
So it's going in on the left-hand side in between, like where the Sims cab used to be and the laundromat. There was going to formerly be a restaurant space in there, and it didn't work out, and so she's going into that space and she's leasing it from Mr. Blair.
Okay, that's fine.
No comments, other comments or questions?
I guess I have a quick question, and this might be, maybe not, but I know parking can be tricky down there based on kind of the plaza and the setup and everything. Everything's signed off from public safety, they don't have any concerns with parking or the flow of traffic or anything there?
No, it went through the planning board as well, and they signed off on it, as did the building department.
Okay.
If there's no other questions or comments, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Okay, roll call, Alex?
Vote aye.
Second I.
Whitman, aye.
Matt's aye.
Ledger, aye. If there are any other discussion from the board on this? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the common victualler license for KP&ML for a restaurant at 79 Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Alright, any other discussion? Alright, roll call, Alex?
Vote aye.
Second I.
Whitman, aye.
Matt's an aye.
Ledger, aye. Alright, second item for,
Do we need a motion to approve the liquor license for KP&ML for the restaurant at 79 Main Street also?
we have to open the hearing.
Oh, that's a separate hearing, sorry.
Yep. If I may. Yep, so I'll open the hearing for pursuant to MGL Chapter 140. The select board will hold a public hearing this evening on the application of KP&ML Incorporated, DBA Mito, for a new liquor license application, all beverages for a Chinese Japanese style restaurant at the same location, 79 Main Street. Anything
Nothing.
separate for this one?
Nothing different, so she's applying for an all alcoholic beverages liquor license. So the first step in the process is for the board to approve and sign the local licensing authority certification form. Once I have that, I send that with her complete application to the state, and it begins the process with the ABCC. I anticipate it'll probably take 3 to 4 months for it to come back, but she is aware of that and is prepared to just start her liquor license in the new year.
Question, on the all liquor license, how many of those do we have left?
For on-premise, we have 6 left.
Six, okay.
After this one's issued.
Correct.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Alright, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Alex?
Vote aye.
Second I.
Whitman, aye.
Matt's an aye.
Ledger, aye. Any other discussion on or comment on the matter? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the liquor license for KP&ML Incorporated for a restaurant at 79 Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Alex?
Vote aye.
Second I.
Whitman, aye.
Matt's an aye.
And Ledger, aye. Alright. And the third hearing is for the Rutland Community Electricity. This is, let me get my talking points out here. This is the community electricity program that we're looking to offer multiple options to meet different needs of the residents and businesses. We can't guarantee financial savings through the programs, but they may provide competitively priced and stable electricity costs, as well as cleaner electricity and more renewable energy options. Let me see, the plan that the town decided to move forward with is called, as the default plan, is the Rutland Standard. With the goal of being cleaner than the utility supply by offering 10% more renewable energy than the state's minimum requirement of 63%, while continuing to be cost competitive. Again, those savings can't be guaranteed. The program will also have a 100% renewable electricity option called Rutland Plus, and an option with the minimum renewable energy required by the state called Rutland Basic. It's kind of the general. Are there any questions, comments regarding the plan to move forward that we're looking to offer? Name and address, please.
Rachel Dolan, Ware Road. I know you have the opt-out option and you can opt in at any time. When you're initially starting the program, said everybody's going to just be opted in. So it's up to the resident to make sure they opt out if they already have their own third-party contract, or they're gonna get stuck.
It's my understanding if there, and I apologize, we have a couple of representatives from Good Energy on here that can help out with answering questions, but it's my understanding that if there's already a contract outside of this that you've entered into for a different
Yes.
supplier, that's not an automatic opt-in, is that correct?
Okay, so I don't
Yes.
have to worry about opting out by a specific date. My next question is, how often, in other words, how long are the prices held for? Meaning, when you opt in, is that price gonna be valid for a year, 2 years? Or
Yes.
change at any moment at any time?
So one of the best parts about municipal aggregation is that when we go to bids for locking prices, we tend to lock in prices with our suppliers with not just the best prices that they provide, but also for how long they provide. So like one of our recent launches, which is the town of Weymouth, they locked in their prices for 4 years. And and they have a basic default, but both their prices were below national grid. So it all depends. I'm not saying that that this program will also probably bid for 4 years. It all depends on the prices and what the energy market looks like when the town goes for bid. But we usually tend to bid for 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years. It all depends, but definitely more than a year. So, and that those prices stay stable for that period of time.
And how are the Rutland residents going to be notified of the new rates once or even the initial rates? So they know whether to go out and look on their own to see if they can do better on their own. I've been doing this for 8 years for myself, so
Yeah.
I understand the process. How are the Rutland residents, are we gonna be given a 30-day at least window? This is what the
Yes.
town of Rutland can offer you on the rates?
Yes.
And
So Courtney and I actually have a small presentation to go over where we would talk about these very things, but I'll answer this question right here that yes, we will be giving a 30-day notification period, and in that notification period, the residents will be sent this package of materials. And there, you will have a notification letter, an opt-out letter that will have all the prices, and you can read everything the program has to offer. And I think an FAQ is also sent about most frequently asked questions, and an opt-out letter is also sent that if you feel that this program is not for you, you can submit that opt-out letter, and the opt-out deadline is also given in that letter so that you know that, this is the time that you need to get the letter out by. Sorry,
And so-
the opt-out card by.
Yes, and so is customer support information. So any questions you might have that arise from any of the outreach.
Courtney, I can't hear you. Yeah.
We can hear you, okay,
You guys can hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we will also provide customer support options. So if you have any questions that arise from the letter, from any of the other promotional materials that'll be issued by the town, it'll be very clear who and how you can reach out as well.
And just one more, I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but on your Rutland community, the talking points page you have here, item number 14, resolution authorizing the mayor. We don't have a mayor. That needs to be changed to Board of Selectmen. It's a typo.
yes.
It's a typo, I'm assuming, but I just want to clarify that.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. We'll change that.
Yes, and with that, like Rafita mentioned, we do have a shorter presentation here to kind of give an overview of the program. I will share my screen now and we can kick off with that. Okay, So tonight we're here to provide a brief overview of the draft plan for the Rutland Community Electricity Aggregation Program. We'll also be discussing next steps in this presentation, but just as some quick introductions, my name is Courtney. I'm the client manager of the program, and I'm joined by my colleague Rafita, who's our sustainability and engagement strategist, and she's been working on the program's development. So we have a visual here to kind of show how the program works. Rutland Community Electricity does not replace National Grid as your electric utility. Want to make that very clear. National Grid will continue to maintain your wires and poles. They will respond to storm outages or power outages, and National Grid will continue to send you your one singular bill. The program itself, its main benefits are cleaner electricity options, competitive pricing for electricity products, and price stability for these electricity products. While future savings cannot be guaranteed because National Grid basic service supply rates, they change every 6 months, and future 6-month period rates are unknown. One of the great things about this program is that it also does not disrupt any existing benefits that already exist through National Grid. So the bill discount for low income rate class or benefits for solar, net metering customers, and budget billing benefits, these all continue to exist in accordance with the program. We thought that we would do a quick review of what's already been done through the program. A required consultation with the Department of Energy Resources occurred on August 12th of this year. And since then, the town has initiated some outreach through things such as copies of the plan at Town Hall. There's also an electronic copy on the program website. There are promotional materials on Rutland's website, as well as social media accounts. There is informational and promotional materials on Rutland's cable TV station about the program, flyers, and more. During this public review period, the town collected comments and answered questions on the program. In terms of what comes next for the program, after this public hearing is held, we are no longer required to have a formal approval of the plan by the select board. While a public hearing or meeting is mandated by law, there is no specific requirements for how local approval is granted. And in many cases, town administrators or managers feel they already have the authority to submit the plan to the DPU. That is exactly what we're planning on doing after this public hearing. We plan to submit to the DPU by mid-October, and we will still be accepting comments until then. Per guidelines as well, the DPU will then make an official decision or ruling on the plan within 120 days of its submission. We're also going to give a brief overview of some key parts of the plan for Rutland Community Electricity. Basically, we want to outline the goals of the program. The town is able to leverage bulk purchasing power to secure competitive rates and optimal terms for the Rutland community. This broadens consumer electricity supply options, and it includes consumer protections in the contract as well. And finally, it offers optional choices for supporting clean energy. At the program's launch, Rutland Community Electricity will replace National Grid as the town's new default electricity supply. Rutland residents on National Grid's basic service will be eligible for automatic enrollment. So as we mentioned before, or as Rafita mentioned before the program launches, there's a 30-day opt-out period before the start of this automatic enrollment. Educational materials are sent out, including those notification letters, and everyone who uses the National Grid's basic service supply, they're therefore eligible for the automatic enrollment and will therefore be receiving those letters. If in the 30-day period, those who are eligible for automatic enrollment do not opt out, they will be automatically enrolled. And those who are not eligible for automatic enrollment, they too can join the program, and really those are people on third-party supply as discussed earlier, and you can choose to opt into the program if you so wish. I thought we would cover the electricity products available through the program as well. There are 3 options available. The first is the default, the Rutland standard electricity product. Then there are the 2 optional products where you'll have to take action to opt into them. The first is the Rutland Basic, which maximizes potential savings, and the second is the Rutland Plus, which has significant additional renewable energy at a more premium price. That Rutland standard, the default one, what it does is add 10% to state requirements. So Massachusetts state requirements for 2025 is that 63.3% of electricity used by an account needs to be sourced from renewable sources. And what the Rutland standard does is add 10% to that number. So about 73% of the electricity used with this product will come from renewable sources. Based on the initial consultation, the town of Rutland was gearing towards a basic default, and in the last select board meeting, we shared this product suite with a green default. The town unanimously chose the green default product suite, which prioritizes both savings and sustainability, kind of a happy medium of both of those goals, and it gives Rutland customers 3 electricity products to choose from. So the town received public comments during the 30-day review period leading up to this public hearing. And if there are any additional comments, you can continue to send them to us. You can find our contact information here on the next slide. And with that, we have concluded the presentation for the program.
Thank you very much. Yes, please, name and address.
Paul Mikowski, Juniper Lane. Back in the ice storm, and supposedly National Grid is gonna take over, taking all the problems with the wires and everything else in the town. What happens if we have another storm like the ice storm that we had? And we were out for over a week without power. Who's gonna, now if it happens around Worcester or wherever, National Grid's gonna be tied up in Worcester. How long who's gonna take care of Rutland at that time? Or who's gonna take care of the general area at that time?
Yeah, so there are 2 parts to your electricity bill. There's the delivery side of your bill and the supply side of your bill. This program only affects the supply side of your electricity bill. The utility National Grid continues to do all delivery services, and that's not just the delivery portion of the bill, that's also maintaining those physical poles and wires and helping with any storm or power outages. So National Grid would be the person to call in that situation.
Yeah, but if they're tied up and they have nobody to send, who's gonna cover them?
That portion of the service isn't gonna change from what we have now. It's strictly just the supplier of the energy.
We had trucks in here from Texas doing wiring, so we could get out of our street or wherever.
Yeah, my assumption is all of that's gonna be organized on the National Grid side for whomever
Yes.
we would need to call in if there's
Yes.
additional assistance needed. Yeah.
And what is the time frame for all of this happening? I know we have to opt in or opt out. When are we gonna receive this information and have to make this decision?
So, like Courtney said, we plan to submit this plan on mid-October, and then the DPU is supposed to take about 120 days to get it to provide approval. It might take a little longer, a little earlier than that. And then we need to choose a electricity supplier. So that might happen in the end of March next year. So we are actually planning to launch this program in June next year. So I think the public education and the 30-day opt-out period should start early April next year. And it should go till like April to May. That is the period that we're looking into.
Mike DeMarica, Stevens Way. Question, on, when you set a price, I have a supplier now, I would assume that even though I'm not on National Grid supply, I'll still get a notification of this happening, number one. Number two is, should the price, you mentioned a 2-year contract, I have a supplier that I've had now for several years, and I do sign a 2-year contract with them. However, if National Grid's prices go lower, okay, I get the lower price, I just call them up, they reduce the price down to National Grid supply cost. All right, or I could just cancel them, which is no cancellation fee if I wanted to. But they've been really good to me for the last several years. So my question is, number one, in that 2-year period, if National Grid does reduce their rates, whatever supplier the town goes with, would you go with those rates if we called up? Number two, if we had to opt out because we found someone cheaper, would there be a cancellation fee?
Yeah,
So,
that's-
yeah, Courtney, do you wanna take this?
Yeah, of course. No, those are great questions and really common ones that we receive. The great thing about this program is that there are no penalty fees, and that will be built into the contract. So you can come and go as you please. I like to just tell customers that you might see those changes reflected in the supply portion of your electricity bill in 1 to 2 billing cycles, just depending on when your meter read is. But yes, if you see National Grid's price lower in any of the 6-month periods and you want to opt out of the program at that time, you are more than welcome to and can join later on if you so wish.
You opt out, would you say you would opt out of it, so you wouldn't reduce the price? So in other words, so you wouldn't, so in other words, your contract for 2 years, we'd be stuck at that price regardless of what happens, we would have to opt out.
Yes, one of the main benefits of this program is the stability of your supply. Like many customers very much value that. So there is no dropping the price down to National Grid's price if you call up, but you can opt out at any time. This is a completely optional program and there are no penalty fees associated.
Courtney, do you wanna show them one of the graphs to just show the stability of the pricing?
Yes. 1 second.
It's, I think, in
I'll have to pull one up outside of the presentation. Well,
there's, see the last slide. Like slide. Okay,
what, would you mind sharing it, Rafita?
oh, sorry,
Thank you.
yeah.
If I may, while they're pulling up, if I understand correctly, National Grid can set their rates essentially every 6 months. They can change their rates. That's why it's kind of the 6-month period. So the municipal aggregation will stay consistent for whatever the duration is. It would be up to the residents to monitor on the 6-month by yearly basis what Grid's pricing is doing and if they want to stay in or opt out. Is that kind of?
Yes. So if you see this graph, you'll see that why the stability matters. Now, this is a comparison between two of our longstanding programs with Avon and Rutland in comparison to National Grid. So you will see, you can see that the green line, which is the Rutland program, and the blue line, which is the Avon program, the prices only changed about 3 times in a span of 6 years. But look at National Grid, the red line, it changes every 6 months. And yes, there were periods when the National Grid prices were below the program prices, but look at the times when they were higher, especially in early like early 2023, like the early years when there was the national grid prices were about 33 cents. That was one of the record breaking high prices that, so a lot of our actually most of our municipalities kind of brushed off because the prices stayed stable. So compare 33 cents to 11 cents. So this is the beauty of the program, that any kind of, and with everything happening globally right now, energy prices can skyrocket anytime. So this is the beauty of the program, that no matter what's happening in externally, if this program gets locked in for 3 to 4 years, these prices have a stable rate. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Well, my whole point is just if they go lower. As I said, with my supply company, I just make a phone call and tell them, it has been like, they just dropped, I renewed my contract last year, I think it was. I'm looking at National Grid, as the board member said, they do change every 6 months. And the way my contract renews, it falls in that gap. And there's a period here where it was, they came in around National Grid's price at almost 19 cents a kilowatt. But then they dropped, National Grid dropped to 15 cents a kilowatt in that seasonal, in that 6-month bracket. So that was my question, because I just called my supplier, which happens to be 100% renewable, not one of the ones you mentioned. I just called them up and they said, oh, National Grid's 15, here it is, we'll give you 15.1. It was 0.1 higher.
Yeah,
So they automatically
that
dropped
is-
it. So that was my concern, what we'd have to do with you, so we would have to watch it, because if National Grid, you just wouldn't do it, and you wouldn't change it if we called you, we would have to change the supplier.
Correct, yes. The dropping of price to match National Grids is not a feature of this program. These rates for each individual electricity product are locked in for the period of time, whatever that time period might be, certainly over a year, or likely over a year.
Name and
Crystal
address.
Liberty on Sassawana. So how many times can you opt in and out? Is there like a limit, 3 times and that's it? Or, I mean, I could see people doing it frequently if they're watching the National Grid prices and they're going all over the place.
Yeah, in theory, you can opt in and out as much as you want. Like I said, there are no penalty fees associated with this program. I will qualify and note that if you were to opt out and then opt back in later, the supplier holds the right to offer you a stable market rate rather than the program rate, but that is something we only see with large industrial accounts. We do not see that at the residential level. But yes, in theory, you could go back and forth. There's no limit, but there is the period of delay where your enrollment request is sent to the utility and then it has to be accepted by the utility. So like I mentioned earlier, you could expect to see any changes made, whether that's opting out, opting in, or switching electricity products in 1 to 2 billing cycles in the supply section of your bill.
Thank you.
Bob O'Connor, 9 Sycamore Drive. How are your rates affected by smart meter? My understanding is the smart meters that were supposedly going to be switched to are there so that they can charge a higher rate during high demand periods, like the middle of the day in the summer, and then a lower rate at low demand periods, like the middle of the night or something.
Yes, I can take that question. So the smart meters, I think you're talking about the time of use rates. So the smart meters, the whole AMI process, I mean, it's gonna take a while to be fully deployed. I think it's gonna take about 2 to 3 years from now for that to happen. And regarding time of use rates, that's something that we are looking into. The state of Massachusetts is already thinking about it and, going through a lot of thinking process about how to get this done. It's definitely going to happen in the future, and we are kind of thinking about how to associate municipal aggregation with this with this, but we haven't really reached a conclusion as of yet. It's still on the discussion period, but that is not a feature that we're gonna offer anytime soon. It's something that it's still on the discussion phase, and after the whole AMI thing is deployed, that's when we will probably start thinking about how to incorporate with this program. And we will definitely be in talks with the town before making any decision.
Where are your company headquarters? And what is your name, company name?
Yeah, we are from Good Energy, and Good Energy is headquartered in New York. We're a part of the New England team, which is set up in Boston.
Any other questions?
Through the chair.
Okay, through the chair. Okay, I think National Grid has been looking into what you're doing because our house is on a budget. It was built in 1968 and it's all electric, which was the big thing at that particular point in history. So I've been paying a budget for probably pretty close to 4 years now. And this month, for the first time, it went down $64. I was more than happy, obviously, but you know, these things are beginning to show in other ways, I guess.
You through, Paul?
Yeah.
Question, on the basic rate, what have you found throughout the state, looking at National Grid, the savings for, say, an individual household for your rate versus National Grid rate? Do they save on average 5%, 10%, 15%? What's the average savings rate over National Grid?
Yes, so we have a calculator in our program website, which can tell you, give you a assumption based on that. It's not there at the moment, but when we do launch the program, a calculator will be incorporated. So for, let's say, about a windfall it's not a windfall savings about 5 to 10% is standard, so it all depends. But when the program is going to be launched, the program prices has to be lower than National Grid prices, and if that's locked in for 2 to 3 years, then it should be lower than National Grid, although savings are not guaranteed, but a 5 to 10% savings is something that we have historically seen.
Please.
Hi, I'm Martha Axton from Wachusett Free Press. And how long have you offered this program to Massachusetts municipalities? And has any town declined to renew their contract with you?
I think some of our oldest programs go back to 2017 or 2016. I don't know on the top of my head, but this program, as in like municipal aggregation, was stated by Massachusetts law in 1997 by I think it was chapter 164, section 134. So municipal aggregation has been in Massachusetts for a while. There's about 200 cities and towns that are currently with municipal aggregation, and no, I don't think we have had any community that hasn't renewed with us.
And just to jump off of that, I believe we have, Rafita, correct me if I'm wrong, but approximately 60 programs in the state of Massachusetts?
Yeah, about 60 active communities. We have a lot more, but they're probably like in launching stage or like in the beginner stage. They're not active as of yet.
Now, these smart meters, I received a letter that the smart meters are gonna be installed soon. The smart meters are your smart meters or National Grid smart meters?
They're national grids.
Yeah, so this whole technology is being overlooked by the Department of Public Utilities and the Department of Energy Resources. Like the Energy Resources, they're setting up the policy guidelines, and the Department of Public Utilities are obviously responsible for all the regulatory framework. So they're guiding the utilities, like all three of them, on how and on how to do it, and what to do about time of use rates. So that is not something that we are directly concerned with, but we're definitely keeping an eye about what's happening. So yes.
Through the chair. They have started the program. They did mine today. So I'm already on the smart meter, so if they don't get to you for 6 months, I'll let you know how it's going. Okay?
Thanks, Harry.
Okay.
Any other questions? From the board? All right, if there's no further questions, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Alex.
Second I.
Whitman, aye.
Matt's and I.
Liz, aye.
Can they put the websites back up on the screen so we can get around and write them, copy them down on our way out?
The websites or the email address?
Well, whichever she put two contact points
I
up
think it was
there
your
that-
email address is for your contact information.
Whatever that was.
And I think there's links on the Rutland MA page also that links to it.
Okay.
But
Yes, and we can also send this presentation after the meeting.
I'll add it to the, Rafita, I'll add it to the page that we have on the website.
Okay.
If you go to our website, rutlandma.gov, right on the front page, there's a big button that says Rutland Community Electricity, and everything is there. And after tonight, I'll add the presentation, and we'll also add the YouTube recording, so that anybody that wants to go back and watch it can do that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you, and there's nothing else, no other, we don't need to vote on anything, correct? This was just strictly for Q&A, education,
Yes.
excellent.
Yes, we just wanted to know that the select board is happy with the program, and in case they have any questions, we would answer them. And this was just like following the rules of having a public meeting and answering any questions by the public, which we have tried to answer. But in case anyone has any additional questions, they can always send it to us. And if we don't get anything by mid-October, if the town permits, we would likely submit the plan to the Department of Public Utilities and wait for their approval.
Thank you very much, we appreciate you being here this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for your time.
All right. Done with public hearings for the evening. I will move into public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment this evening?
Carol Benoit, Turkey Hill Road. Talking about smart meters reminded me of the water sewer meters. I was here a couple months ago when Chris Kowalski was talking about that. Are we moving in some direction to replace the water sewer meters?
I think that's what,
Through the chair, water meters will be on the special town meeting warrant to use revenue from
Water sewer retained earnings.
water sewer retained earnings to start that project. So it'll probably be funded at the November meeting, and it'll probably start over the winter time.
And I do have one other thing, and this is not personal. I understand that you're going into an executive session at the end, and my suspicion is that it's talking about the town administrators, or the acting town administrators contract. And I've just been curious. I don't think he's going to be working full-time at either job. And this is not, again, it's public comment, so no comment means no questions back, or answers back. But I would ask that the consideration be if it's not full-time in both places, I think a police salary line item should be reduced a bit to however it is. And I'm also, especially if you're considering including an increase in his salary to compensate for acting TA. So that's just my thinking as a resident. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Moving into communication, member comments, announcements, and town administrator update. Just a few updates on my side. Just officially welcoming Chief Knipe as our acting town administrator, appointed at our last meeting. Thank you for being here with us and your willingness to serve in the role. We're excited to have you. We have the DPW yard waste drop-off will be open and available from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on October 4th, October 18th, and November 1st, which are all Saturdays. We have Lacey's Lunchbox is officially open for business. It's the new pet food pantry, which is located in the rear town hall near the other donation locations. And it's there for residents to take whatever they need or donate anything that they wish 24/7. The next issue of Wachusett Free Press will be delivered in early October. Here. And we also have the October Central Tree Times, which will be published later this week. I can't believe it's already almost October. I don't know how that happened. And lastly, Wachusett Greenways is hosting a walk, run, bike event on Saturday, October 4th, starting at 10 a.m. And the starting point is at the Manning Street Rail Trail entrance in Holden. And for anybody that's interested in information or to sign up, can visit wachusettgreenways.org. Are there any other members that would like to add any?
I just have a suggestion. Can we add the yard waste drop-off dates to the, at minimum, the DPW website? I've had a lot of residents reach out kind of over the summer and there hasn't been anything on, recently, so.
I'm assuming they're probably in your newsletter coming out too.
And also pending on social media, but we can add them to the website. And just for folks to know, you can actually drop off yard waste anytime during business hours as well, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you can't make it on the weekend or when they do the special dates, you can do it during the week as well.
Can that be added to the website, please?
Yep, I'll ask Chris.
Thank you.
Yep.
Because like I said, I've had a number of residents reach out asking for hours and not been able to find anything.
You can direct them to the office too, because we can always let them know and then we can make sure we get information out there for them.
Through the chair, are there directions of where, when somebody gets to the DPW, they should drop off their stuff, the yard waste? Do they know how to do it?
That's a very good question. I know where they go, but I don't know that we've ever specifically said where to go. So I can talk to Chris and get the best description of location. We can add that to the post.
Like a sign out front, yard waste here or something
Sure.
like that?
Absolutely.
So everybody knows.
Yep,
Okay.
we can do
Thanks.
that.
Any other member comments? All right, I will turn it over to Chief
Okay.
Knipe.
Thank you. Through the chair, started off last week, busy week. I did have a productive meeting with our outgoing interim town administrator. Dave and I basically went through the rundown of every project that he was working on to get the status of that. So we have a good handle on when it needs to be finished. Over the last 10 days, I've met with each department to go through the FY25 line items to get their input on what they need to get through the remaining of this fiscal year. The finance director and I will be reviewing this feedback and developing a funding plan that draws from mixed revenue sources on that. This week we had a meeting with the 3 towns regarding the trash hauler procurement. As you can remember, the RFP went out for a single trash hauler. One company was put in a proposal. On October 6th, the group will be meeting with the company to finalize or get some more clarification on terms. As you know, fall town meeting warrant was due last week. That warrant has been drafted, gone through, finance director's taken a peek at it. It's already gone to town council for review. We hope to have that back.
With at least a week prior to your meeting to finalize the warrant, so you guys have time to review it.
As you know, capital planning, all submissions to CIPC are due tomorrow. That reminder was sent out to departments last week. We do have a finance committee meeting this Thursday. And the HR study, it should be in your packet, so if you get a chance to review that, we'll discuss that in a future meeting. There has been a lot of open positions due to retirement. So the hiring of a DPW clerk and a DPW custodian positions, offer letters have been sent. In return, those positions should be starting very shortly. We had a internal lateral or transfer from a DPW laborer, took the DPW mechanic's job. So you'll see the DPW laborer's position posted. We started to get applications, came in this week. Grants, we did have a grant for fiber grant that we got last year when Austin was here. We did ask for an extension, which goes through June 30th. We're trying to connect the Council on Aging and the water treatment plant back through the center of town, back to everything here. So we'll be all on our own integrated network. So that's in the progress. We do have a department heads meeting this Thursday, and Paul and I went to the rail trail ribbon cutting today over in Holden. The last thing I got is the 7th year annual report for stormwater, was written by Weston and Sampson, and has been submitted to EPA for their review. So that's all done on time and in. So that's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you. Busy first week. All right, if no further questions, then we can move into appointments and resignations. We have an appointment for consideration. We have Rich Lopez here, interested in serving on the Cultural Council. He's got his application submitted, and we also have a letter of recommendation from the Cultural Council to recommend Rich's appointment. Are there any questions for Rich?
Through the chair. Rich, how you doing?
Pretty well, how are you?
Good. Thanks for volunteering for this. I have a question. Why were you not able to attend at least one board of the committee meeting? You said down here, maybe you have since you filed this, but you said you haven't attended any, and we encourage everybody to attend at least one meeting.
I did attend.
You did?
Yeah, I believe the last one, which was.
It's in the recommendation letter.
Okay, so this is old then, this application that he said no on.
So, we had put out, if I may, Jen, we had put out a post on social media to try to garner some interest, and Rich was kind enough to apply. At that time, he hadn't attended a meeting, so we coordinated with the Cultural Council, and once they were able to schedule their next meeting, Rich attended that
Very
meeting,
good.
and then following that, they wrote their letter of recommendation. But there was a little bit of timing from the time he applied to the time they actually were able to meet.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion to appoint Rich Lopez to the Cultural Council to serve for a 3-year term.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion? All right, roll call, Alex.
Moda.
Second, aye.
When I'm
Matt's and I.
Ledger, aye. Rich, I believe you have to go up to be sworn in for this one as well, no?
Yes, yep, just whenever you can, stop by the town clerk's office.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich. All right, we have no old business on the agenda, so moving into new business. First up is the Rutland Little Library. We have Carrie here, if she's got some details for us.
I'm here with 3 members from TAB, the Teen Advisory Board to the Library, which is a group that's been going for a while. They're pretty awesome, if you ask me. So they have asked me if they could put a little library somewhere between Naquag and Central Tree. they've given you a description of the library that they want and location. I have Sarah, Olivia, and Greta here. And this is what they wanna do. They want to maintain it, they want to fill it with books. We get lots and lots of donations, and we have some books that are in excellent shape that we think maybe would entice some of the children from the schools to come over here and see us and maybe continue their reading journeys. So we're seeking permission for them to put one there, if that's amenable.
I personally, if I may, I personally love the idea of it, and I love that it's kind of between the two schools. My only question or consideration is, I see the suggested prototype and everything. I don't know if you would have any interest in kind of doing an artistic decoration on it, just to prevent some of the graffiti tagging that tends to happen. It's just a point of conversation, because I know that path back there can be dark, and sometimes there's some,
I think that Olivia's planning on doing a little artwork. We're looking to maybe see what we can do there. Who knows, maybe we'll even have a little contest and someone can give us a little logo and we can go crazy, who knows?
yeah. And one other question, are you, with the free little libraries, they're kind of, whoever contributes helps maintain the books, right? Or like the diversity of the books. Are you hoping to keep this kind of geared towards the elementary, middle school, or are you hoping it to be available to anybody that's willing to kind of give and take?
I think all ages would be good, because a lot of other libraries, like I know us teens like stopping at as well, so it'd be good for all ages.
Yeah, and I was wondering, because I know a lot of people walk through there, use that as part of their walking route, so it's a lot of the kids, there's a lot of diverse ages that go through there, so thank you.
Yeah, and add on to that, I mean, you've got kids at practice, sports practices there, so you've got the parents, you've got Harmony Place that's just down the way, and like you said, people that walk through, so I think there's definitely, it would be good for all ages, yeah.
We have books for all ages that they can stock the shelves with, so we're ready to go whenever we get the green light.
Based on your pictures, it looks like is it right outside the playground area that is right behind Naquag?
Yes.
The specific location that you're looking for?
It's off the sidewalk, right where the playground is.
Right in that. Okay.
So it's between kind of the playground and the sidewalk, so if you're walking from Naquag down to Central Tree, it would be on the right-hand side. I'm just thinking for snow removal and everything, I think that I don't wanna speak for Chris, not sure how they do snow maintenance on that sidewalk, if it's with the machine or not, but just being mindful for snow removal, that it doesn't
We'll
get
make sure
taken
we
out.
put it somewhere so it won't
Far enough
get
back.
knocked
Or the
over
DPW's,
by the first snowstorm.
right, that's my concern. Thank you.
Okay,
Through the chair, has the DPW signed off on this if it's going?
you're the first ones we came to.
Okay.
I can easily reach out to Chris and ask him what he thinks.
Secondly, I'm assuming this is gonna be a long-term effort. Who will take care of this in 5, 6, 7 years?
Right now, we have this teen group, and it seems to be continuing as the kids age up. If we find that it is something that doesn't continue, we will be happy to remove the little library and,
And
admit defeat, I guess.
who takes care of the maintenance on this? In other words, say it does get graffiti, needs to be painted, who's responsible for that?
It would be us teens. We would also be
Yes.
going to check on it every 2 weeks with our meetings.
Okay,
Since
so
it's
how often
close.
would you be restocking the books?
Well, we would look and see if it needs to be restocked
Yes.
probably every 2 weeks, but also my house is right there, so also every time on the way to the library I would pass it.
Okay, and where are you getting the money for this?
The friends of the library are gonna
Okay,
help us with this venture.
sounds like a win-win to me,
That's what I think.
okay.
I'm impressed with these kids.
Can you, how do you pronounce the first name of the outdoor library book box? I have it here, it says LLYAPA.
I think that's an I think it's ILAPA.
Okay.
I think it's just a brand.
It's just the brand, it's
Oh,
just,
all right. I didn't know if it was somebody's name that you were dedicating that to.
No,
so to speak.
no.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have no more questions.
Anybody else have questions? Is there any information the board would like to have, or I will entertain a motion to?
I would put forth a motion to approve the Rutland Little Library by the Rutland Library Board of Trustees and the teen group funded by the Friends, and just with the stipulation to consult with DPW for a final location placement.
Okay.
But otherwise as presented.
Yeah.
Motions or second? Motion second. Any other discussion? Alright, roll call. Alex?
All right.
Second, aye.
Wait a minute.
Matt's and I.
You're right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
very
so much.
Good luck.
Looking forward to it. Alright, so next we have the dedication ceremony for the new flagpole. This is, just as an update, everything is in place as far as I know, where the plaque will be in, remind me on the timing of that, do we have it in here?
Yeah, the plaque was expected
Next
to arrive, at the end of last week or the early part of this week. So in speaking with Mr. Canacchioli, we were trying to find a date that wasn't too deep into the month in the hope that the weather would still be on our side. And we were thinking of doing a Saturday morning so that more people had an opportunity to attend, plus it gets darker earlier now. So we just wanted to confirm that at least a majority of the members would be able to attend on that date. Lou is kind of taking the lead as far as getting some guest speakers to come. He does have someone that's going to come and sing the national anthem, and Reverend Price has agreed to come and do an invocation. So we are also going to extend an invitation to all of those who have donated, as well as just a general out to the public to anybody that would like to come. So this is more just a for your information / confirmation.
My only question is, I think that that's the Saturday of the long weekend. And so I'm not sure,
We did discuss that. There wasn't a huge concern with a large number of people going away for Columbus Day weekend in particular. I think for the most part, the people that he has spoken to face to face have said that they are available to attend as far as the donors go.
So nothing really to vote on for this, just we're hoping that members of the board will be available if your schedules permit to attend the ceremony. Alright, the Mass Cultural Council grant, this one, Tamika, might rely on you for a little bit more. This is a grant that the events committee applied for and was awarded, and there's two pieces to it. There's the agreement for the grant, I believe, as well as the contract for the grant. And David had signed the agreement prior to his departure, but the state is actually looking to have the agreement and the contract have the same signatory. So essentially what we're looking to do is authorize, with Seth being the acting and not sure when this contract is going to come in, correct? Ideally authorizing myself as chair to sign the contract and be put on the agreement to accept the grant money for the events committee. Did I miss anything?
You did great.
Any questions on?
How much was the grant for?
$5,000. And it's going back to reimburse them for expenses related to the concerts on the Common.
Okay.
They've applied the last 3 years. The first year they were awarded $2,500. Last year they did not receive it. And then this year we applied for the $5,000 one and they did get it. It's just unfortunately just been a timing issue with when it was awarded versus signing everything. And after speaking with the chair of the events committee, she was in agreement that it was probably best to have Jen be the signer just to keep that consistency should any other paperwork related to the grant come in.
And they're sorry if I may, and they're comfortable with all the documentation that needs to be provided to ensure the actual reimbursement of the grant or receivings of the grant fund?
Yes, we've done that in the past and we have a very good tracking system for all of their expenses, so they are perfectly fine with that and our office will help them.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to authorize myself, Jen Ledger, to sign the Mass Cultural Council grant on behalf of the events committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? We'll call Alex.
Hold on. Second I.
Whitman, aye.
That's an aye.
Ledger, aye. Thank you very much. So Tamika, I think we have the agreement. We just need to notify them to put my name on it to
Yes.
sign that first piece.
Yep, I'll follow up with them tomorrow and I'll have them resend it out with your information on it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, moving into the Economic Development Commission, we have a request from the EDC to formally disband the commission. We have current chair of the EDC, Randy Jordan, here. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you would be so kind as to let us know the plan and your.
So Randy Jordan, Economic current chair. We've had this committee now for a number of years and we've had some challenges. And we feel that we've treaded water more than forward motion in a lot of things that we've done. We've had a change of town administrator, town planners to help with it. We feel we have the ability to do more as a committee, non-affiliated with the town, but working hand in hand with the town in regards to rekindling or reviving the Rutland Business Association, as there was a number of years ago. And I had spoke to a few members of the Rutland Business Association, and there's some uncertainty of exactly when it stopped, but during COVID time or before COVID time, it stopped, and it seemed to be the same number of people doing the work. Our committee seems vibrant and ready to have a kickoff meeting with the Rutland Business Association. And the 501c3 is still viable with them. We just have to renew or update that we're working and looking through the process of. If we want to do some fundraising, we have the ability to do it through that, or come to an open house kind of thing. We can take money in where we couldn't as a committee before. So we just think there's a lot more positives than negatives of stopping the committee as a town committee and going back with the insurance that the Rutland Business Association is going to get started, and we will continue to feed that fire for the RBA to go forward to do that. I did have some concerns myself as what are we missing of not being a town committee? And I had asked some wiser people in town than myself, and they didn't have any ideas that I was missing as a committee going forward. So it was a committee vote to disband and go from there. And we hope we have your support, where we're anticipating on giving you support back in working with the town planner, or the town administrator, the selectman's office as a whole, if there's new businesses that need something. We've already reached out to, I believe there's a tattoo parlor that's showing some interest coming in, and we've sent a letter off as a bunch of people sitting around kitchen table having a discussion to encourage them to come in and see if we can help them with the process and pointing them in the right direction. So we're doing it as a group of people right now, and we have an official get the RBA started. I can answer any questions if you'd like.
Do you mind, just for my own knowledge, because I'm not familiar with the business association, do you have any brief history on what they've done in the past, what their general goals are compared to what the EDC charge was?
So obviously it was a long time ago when it originally started, and Bonnie Bessie and Dennis Sahaki and Addison Redfield, people that were very active in town, were members of it. They had golf sponsorship, a golf tournament for a fundraiser for scholarships. They often had a monthly meeting, and it was over here at the Central Tree location restaurant that they would have it there, and they would often have a monthly speaker come in And Bonnie Booth, who was very active toward the end of the days there, said probably the most successful one they had was they had somebody come in and speak from Pete's Tire Barn. And there was a lot of women that went to the particular meeting that individual time, and they didn't know a lot about tires. And in turn, they just felt it was very helpful for the businesses in town to be active with that. So there was meetings like that. They have accountants, they have lawyers come in and talk to that. So are we gonna do a monthly meeting? We don't know, or what we're gonna get started with. It just depends on the group of people that's involved. Some of the concern that we all have as a whole is, you have 40 people go to an open house or meet and greet like we had in the past, 2 or 3 times a year, but yet you're only gonna have 5 or 6 people that are certainly active in trying to pull everything together to do it. But I think the people that are part of the Economic Development Committee are willing to spearhead that. There's a difference between a Rutland Business Association and like the Wachusett Area Chamber of Commerce. There are similarities, but there are differences as well. So we're hoping to take some ideas from everybody and do a purpose and do some bylaws and things like that. So there'll be a president, there'll be a secretary, there'll be a treasurer, kind of thing. I would assume there'll be an executive committee of some sort if we have to do things in between meetings. So.
Questions from the board?
Mr. Jordan, through the chair. Help me understand that you want to, the committee has suggested, according to this letter, that you want to completely disband the EDC.
Yes.
It's gone.
Yes.
We have a bylaw supporting the EDC. If we're not going to have an EDC anymore, then are you recommending to the board? I thought we had a bylaw on EDC.
It's just a committee.
No?
It's RDIC and CIPC that have bylaws.
Okay. So if we disband that, we are not looking to put it into place anytime in the future, is what you're saying. And do we need, if we do decide to say yes for you to disband it, do we need to get resignation letters from everybody? I need to think about that, if we're disbanding it.
There are only 4 committee members that are currently active. There's 2 that have not been reappointed.
Okay.
So we're halfway there right now, kind of thing, if you get my drift.
I do.
We've had some challenges there. That wasn't our intention.
Yeah.
We thought by giving a letter that we as a committee voted to disband, we're hoping for your blessing. And am I gonna say this will never start again? Never's a long time.
Right, but I mean, your perception is it's not needed at this point if you focus on the
Yeah,
Rutland
and I had a discussion with Mike Sullivan, who is a longtime member of RDIC, and we had talked about joining forces a year or 2 ago. He talked about what your purpose is, and he says, Randy, what have you really accomplished in the last year? And he turned around, and I turned around and I asked him nicely, right? And I said, well, what have you accomplished in the last 2 years? He says, well, I can't really tell you much of that, right? And so it goes in waves and cycles. I just think that it's similar to the Rutland Business Association, right? 20 years ago, it was super strong and moving forward, and it lost the gumption, right? I think you got a handful of people that's got some gumption, but I think we have a better driving force to move the thing going forward.
So you're saying that we're gonna disband the EDC, and those people on the board, if they're willing, are gonna move over to the Rutland business to help them out?
That's, well,
not part of the town.
Correct.
But just to
Yes.
support them, give them energy, and help them develop.
yeah, most of us on the committee are business owners in town, and we anticipate that we're all gonna go to the first meeting.
Okay.
And we're going to possibly have one meeting, but maybe we'll have a second meeting thereafter to do officers. So I don't anticipate, Randy Jordan is likely to run the first meeting where I'm the retiring EDC kind of thing, but I don't anticipate that I'll be chairman of the Rutland Business Association, but maybe I'll have to be to start it with. I'm not certain, right? So.
Okay. But it's completely disconnect. You go to the Rutland business, you have no other action, if you will, for the town, because the EDC is now gone. I'm trying to get that separation that our
We're gonna cut the umbilical cord, we're done.
What's that?
We're gonna cut the umbilical cord, we're done.
Okay.
but we're hoping to work with the town.
Yeah,
If someone calls the selectman's office and says, hey, I wanna start a tattoo parlor, and I don't know how to do it, who do I get help? Obviously, the selectman's office can advise, but you may say, hey, call the Rutland Business Association, here's the phone number, and yet, I anticipate we're gonna have a brochure, how to start a business in Rutland, call this person, call this person, call this person, and here's their phone number and here's their email, an easier place to find it. We're gonna lose our website in regards to the town of Rutland website, because to the best of my knowledge, the Rutland Business Association can't have a website associated with that, right?
right.
But yet someone from the town can suggest it to come over to do this, right? But yet, we're gonna suggest them to go this way. They're not gonna call the Rutland Business Association, can I put a tattoo parlor on Main Street, across the street from the fire station, you know, they're gonna go through the right channels, right? We're just gonna be able to help them.
Right.
Are we gonna go to the ribbon cuttings, maybe the RBI, Rutland Business Association, along with the selectmen, like we have with the economic development? I would anticipate probably, because we're gonna try to promote the business and do similar to what we've done in the past, right? So I think there's gonna be a lot of similarities. I'm just not gonna have my town hat on that day. I might have a different hat on.
Okay. All right. I'm sure everybody's thought a lot about this. I mean, I know you've tried to keep it going for a while, the EDC, trying everything you can, and so I give you credit for doing that, Randy, you and the team. You know, so it's unfortunate that you feel it's come to this, but, you know, I guess I have to agree. If you can do a better job of promoting business in town through the Rutland business, then that's the way to go.
It was a unanimous vote from the committee, so it wasn't like it was a 3-2 vote. It was,
Yeah,
all the committee felt the same way. It took some convincing, some didn't know it was coming,
yeah,
you know, but he agreed with us by the time we were done, right? So,
okay.
Can I just add something to and what Randy says, and now that he pointed me out, I must say something. I was stunned on that particular night. I have had this thought in my mind for a few months for various reasons, which Randy said. I think by doing this, it leaves more flexibility where you not have that town connection by the bylaws and the committees on that. It gives you more flexibility, and this allows businesses, and we can do a lot. I mean, there are members, I don't own a business, but the other three do. And I think those minds can do a lot more, and there's fundraising they can do, as he mentioned. So, yeah, we had it unanimous. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think it's better for the town overall to do this.
Okay.
we're gonna save you money.
And
Less print that you have to put in the town report, you know, and all that, so. I'm worried about the budget, Harry.
Yes.
So you're looking for a decision tonight on this?
Absolutely, we wanna get started.
Okay.
Well,
No, I'm just asking.
it doesn't matter what you say at this point, I'm sorry to say, no disrespect, but.
No, but
We got wheels rolling somewhere else right now.
what I'm saying is, do we need a motion to get this thing going?
I would
Okay.
strongly encourage you to
All right,
accept my resignation,
okay.
that I haven't given, but.
Well, there's two if he needs them, I mean.
Are there any other questions or?
I move to disband the Economic Development Commission and to support their request to restart the Rutland Business Association as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
I'm just going to make a comment that as far as the RBA is concerned, the town really has no concern for that at all. We have no involvement in that, so I guess my decision is that we will be making a motion to just disband and wish you well on the RBA.
Well, it says to support the request.
Support.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, I'll roll call Alex.
All right. Segment aye.
Whitman, aye.
That's it.
Ledger aye.
Just,
One
sorry,
cur-
sorry. Pauline.
One curiosity question, should there be any wording in the motion that was already voted on, and I should have asked this before, but how do you say it nicely in regards to work with, you know, we wanna have some collaboration between the town and the Rutland Business Association. Can we have some support there, or I mean, we're not looking for money, we're not looking for people, we're just looking for, the selectman's office is gonna kick some work our way and vice versa, you know, I don't know what the proper wordage is, but there's gotta be something in there that should be noted in the minutes of,
If I may, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say if just to answer your question off the top of my head, I see it kind of similar to like Jean comes in for the events committee and she'll inform us of certain events or requests that maybe they want. So maybe just working with the office if there's anything specific that, you know, with regards to putting out information or anything that's required from the town, there's still open lines of communication there. So I think, you know, having Tamika be that point of contact for ideas, thoughts, anything that should come before the board if you've got anything that needs to be there for discussion, unless there's other ideas.
No, I mean, we always offer public comment, so if the RBA wants to come in and tell us what's going on and if they need our help and how we can do it, that would
ask at that point.
That would be a good time to do it.
I was just, if I may, I was also going to, a couple things. We were to review the town planner kind of position and goals and objectives and kind of job description for that position. And so maybe we include in that kind of working on the, not specifically calling out the RBA, because I think that that's that could be fluid. I'm trying to think more long-term, but continue that if the board chooses economic and community development piece in addition to the planning piece, that would speak kind of having close communication with, and my other piece was, do we need to consider working again with RDIC to update their charge again, because it had separated so much from the EDC, or do we leave them as they kind of are right now as the land management group right now?
If I may, just my suggestion of the conversation that what I've had with some members of the RDIC, you may not wanna rock that boat, because it may go down.
That was my thinking.
And no pun intended, but I think they're happy with what they're doing. And you know, we were kind of separated, we worked together, but we were kind of separated, and they got their path, and our path is necessarily going with the RBI, Rutland Business Association, I think would be just as well. Let them come to you if they got a suggestion. That would be my suggestion.
And I think in the motion, we did say to support the request to restart, so, yep. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, next up, we have our remote meeting policy. This is a topic that came up during public comment at our last meeting, where there were some concerns with the chat feature for our Zoom meetings and public participation. So taking a look at our existing policy, there wasn't anything in there that outlined anything around, call it rules or regulations, or how the chat feature would be recognized. So we wanted to put that on the agenda for today. There is some a starting point. Tamika added some text into the policy for consideration to more appropriately address how that feature should be handled. My personal opinion is that, and we did confirm this with the cable department, that the chat feature can be disabled entirely. Remote chat, remote comment shouldn't be treated any differently, in my opinion, than if there were public participants here in person. They still need to be acknowledged by the chair. Personally, I don't care for the chat feature just being used as a means of publicly commenting, again, depending on what the comments are, whether they're questions that need to be answered by the board, or if it's just somebody that is expressing their opinion. Again, it's very difficult to police that feature. So my personal opinion would be to have the chat feature disabled for use during remote meetings, And the policy would be updated to direct anybody that's on Zoom to use the raise hand feature and be acknowledged by the chair to publicly speak their comment so that it can be written into the minutes. And the chair has the ability to, at their discretion, either allow that comment or not.
The only thing that is obviously a potentially obscure case is somebody unable to speak. Is there something in place for somebody unable to speak to voice their concerns currently? I mean, they could email the town specifically, but if they're listening to a meeting, how would they, at the time?
I think that's part of what's in here, right? There's the ability to submit comment ahead of time.
There is, so at the bottom of the every agenda, there's a clause that states, if you need special accommodations, to please reach out to our office ahead of a meeting so that we can accommodate that. So hypothetically speaking, if somebody knew they were gonna be on Zoom but were unable to speak, they could potentially email our office and say, you know, can I use the chat feature and maybe we turn it on for that meeting, or can I send an email ahead of time? But I don't know if that addresses your concern.
Yeah, I mean, it mostly does because the potential is there, so I think that's the majority of it, but I can just imagine a possibility, and again, I know these are obscure cases, right? It's not like it's gonna happen very often, but I don't wanna leave a policy to, what's the term to, there's a specific legal term to make sure that everyone with disabilities.
Accessibility.
Accessibility, right,
Yeah.
accessibility stuff. So if we're not taking that into consideration, it can go against us, right? So, I guess we just wanna make sure we're following that and make sure we're not putting ourselves in a liability issue there. Because I can imagine somebody on Zoom at the time in a conversation, listening to something happen, not knowing that it's gonna come up. And then they're like, how do I address my concerns before we vote on it? And, you know, it's not like that's always gonna be the case, but I don't know, again, I just wanna make sure that we're giving people the ability to voice concern.
If I may, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I may, my concern's similar to Alex, but on a little bit of a different path. I've been on many Zoom meetings where there have been audio issues and the only way to kind of try to communicate that either we on Zoom cannot hear or other Zoom member is through the chat, and that's more just to get the attention of the Zoom operators and not to the public meeting. So I'm not sure if there's an avenue for that. Obviously, Zoom is not required, but there are more and more meetings where we have, even tonight was an example where we have consultants on Zoom that need to be able to participate, and if they can't hear or we can't hear that, you know, that Zoom does, or the chat does provide a function at some level. Not so much discussing agenda items, but the technology piece.
Is there a way that we can check, maybe, since they're here right now, we can ask, is there a way that we can make it private so that it goes to?
So it's really on the onus of the person sending the chat. They choose in a drop-down menu, send to everybody or send to just host. I would say that maybe we could set up an arrangement with the cable folks where only they're looking at the chat in the back room. They don't have to necessarily put it up in the screen here in the room. So if there was an audio question, they could address it back there. If there was something where somebody was trying to reach the board, one of their folks could pop out and just say, hey, we've got somebody in the chat. Maybe that's a way around it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I could see just changing language, and I know to your point, you know, having the chat shut off is not necessarily a bad idea. But you could put it in the policy that any comments through chat would only be read if recognized by the chair, something of that nature, so that it has the ability to be recognized, but could just be noise. If somebody's just going off and, you know, creating havoc, we ignore it, but if it's a legitimate concern, the chair could recognize it.
Yeah, if there's a means for us not, you know, to have it monitored by the cable staff and not, again, have it publicly visual, again, and if the policy can be updated that like it's noted in here to use the raise hand feature to be acknowledged. So my big concern is just having that just be a place where people are having their own conversation in the chat without, and not having that be part of the record.
Those things are gonna happen, but realizing the technical, side of this thing completely, I do understand, you know, what the basic statement is made in the policy here. But, you know, okay, there are things that we found out were out of our control. In other words, it belonged to Zoom, and we have our resident Zoom person here who understands pretty much what all of these things have encompassed before it comes to us. Okay? So the technical issues here are something that we're gonna try and resolve further with Spectrum, but right now, it's a very beginning situation, and, you know, we just had opening comments with Spectrum about this and what else we can do. I have an idea in my head about what could be done. Howsoever, I have to get Spectrum to agree to it, and also it would involve some additional work on their part to provide us with a special independent line of what we're using right now. It's one of these things that, okay, you know, when you have something that Zoom itself is on any given night can be busy not only with the town of Rutland, but all of the towns around or a city or whatever, okay, that subscribe to Zoom. And so, all right, so with all of these things taken under consideration, you have to realize too that, okay, if there is a fault of something that happens like this, then, all right, probably this paragraph has pretty much a good meaning to it. You know, and until perhaps maybe such a time as we can change the situation and bring up a different way to handle it, it's just gonna have to work the way it does, and that's all there is to it. So, you know, but simply put, I believe, you know, the statement that's made here in the policy and regulations is something that makes sense, and then probably, you know, it's hard for us to draw a line between where Zoom ends and where our technical equipment comes into play. Okay, we have made changes, we have done different things, we have tried different things. Right now, at this very moment in time, things seem to be working fairly smoothly. However, I say that with maybe a little bit of a gasp, saying, okay, what are we gonna do next, okay? So this is what we've got. Jake, do you have anything you might wanna add to this?
About the chat features, there's definitely a possibility that we can monitor it. And there's probably a way that we can just have a system where we can speak in the control room and you guys hear us.
Yeah.
If you guys want to disable it in here. Audio concerns, I know that some things that Paul was saying is that it's not entirely our fault, like sometimes because we're sharing a network with the library, which is what Paul is trying to talk about cable with, is like having our own system and network. So then because we're sharing with the library, which is also sharing with the rest of the town, like some bandwidth and some power is like we're not able to get. But there's definitely workarounds and then updates with equipment and processes that we can play with depending on what the board wants. For sure.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Quick question, Carol Benoit, Turkey Hill. Can the chat between people versus, you had said you can chat with everybody or you can chat with the host, but the other option is to chat with other people on the Zoom call. Can you shut that part down?
I don't see why not. I don't have an answer for certain, but that's definitely something we can look into.
I don't either, not at this particular point in time. In other words, the way that we've been looking at it, the way that we've been working on it, is to try and clear up the issues that have come forth to us at this point in time, okay? So anything drawn beyond that point right now is something that we're gonna look into, and, you know, I'm going to be working with Spectrum here, hopefully here in the near future now, to get a handle on just what my ideas and what their ideas are, okay? So, okay. I'm content with what I've presented here so far.
Thank you.
You know, I don't have any real objections to the paragraph as it's presented. So, you know, for the most part, I think, you know, we can go forward with this for now. It may require further modifications depending on what comes down the road. But at this point in time, yes, okay.
I agree with you, Paul. I think what we have here is a good starting point, and it allows the chairs of the boards to wait for that hand raise to recognize the comment. And then, as some of the comments we've heard here tonight, if we can look into some other options, we can always modify the policy. And again, taking the accessibility considerations into account, making sure that that's all covered.
I have a question since Jacob's here, if I may. I think being in this room and being able to see the chat is a fairly new feature that we used to not have. There used to be notifications that there would be a chat, but we never knew what the chat was. And now I think we can see it. So I think, is it possible that just by declaring this paragraph here and not disabling the chat yet, at least entirely, and I think this is kind of what you're saying, Jen, is that we can just not show the chat to the public meeting, and if there's something of relevance, then the cable alerts the chair that way, which I think is what you're getting at.
Yes.
But I just wanted to point out that I think the public meeting being able to see the chat is a newer development within the past few months, I'm not sure. So I don't know if
Given that thought, also there was something else here that, you know, okay, there are people out there who use Zoom as other people would use Facebook, okay? So in other words, these things are things that come down, and this all adds, simply put, to the congestion that appears on the network that we have to deal with here, okay? So, you know, I think that Zoom needs to maybe state their policies a little different about this sort of thing, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, you know, there's more work to be done on this on the whole, but I think that this policy here is probably are good for our situation.
If I may, to provide what you were saying, all we have to do is just on our end disable it, like just click it and then unclick it again to not show it. So that's like the easiest fix that we could do is just not show it on the projector.
So it would still allow the comments to come in, it just wouldn't be publicly seen.
It's not disabling, it's just we're not watching like this side right here
Yep.
as well with the participants, we could just close that.
so. Then if you are monitoring on the cable side, monitoring to see if there's audio visual problems or whatever in the chat, because I know I've been on in the past and I don't necessarily want to interrupt a meeting verbally to be like, hey, something isn't being viewed properly, I'll put it in the chat in hopes that it's seen. I haven't been on a lot of calls that there's been a whole lot of dialogue in the chats. I understand for some of the, especially planning board meetings, it's become more of an issue recently. But I think if it's not visible to the public room, it takes some of that back and forth back, and then it just is clearly stated here, and maybe it can even just be an automatic kind of copy and paste into the chat at the beginning of the meeting or something, so that anybody in the meeting that wants to chat realizes that they have to do it. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that, you know, like a pinned chat or something.
Yeah, pinned comment that just says, if you would like to comment, please raise your hand to be acknowledged by the chair.
Right.
If that's what the board decides, yeah, we can just have like a copy and paste thing, and then what you were saying, like we, the cable, because we run both the TriCaster and the Town of Rutland Zoom projects that are shown here, so then we can just comment with either one of those and then just paste what the board decides.
Yeah, I don't think we would need to have any of that outlined in the policy, that would just,
No, we would just make sure we communicate that to the
Communicate
cable
that
staff,
to the-
and if the policy is approved, we would communicate that with all of the boards and committees as well, so they would know what to expect.
and the right process to acknowledge
Yes.
remote comments.
Correct, yep.
So are we not putting in the policy that we wouldn't be showing the chat in public meetings? So I feel like if we're gonna do that, we could just put it in the policy that we're not going to show the chat in a public meeting.
We're 100% certain that we can turn
There's a
that?
way that we
Okay.
can Well, we're not doing it show right it now, on the frankly, projector, I mean- but then
Yeah.
we can still see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're more comfortable, just say comment will be available, but not publicly visible. Just to, and this is the process, like what's stated here.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that, just. Oh, hold on, Harry, do you have any?
No, I mean, my only issue is if somebody puts a chat up there, everybody gets to see it. And to me, that should be like a comment that either goes to the chair or to the board that nobody else can see. Because once that is recognized, then that will become on the video, so to speak, so people will hear it in public session rather than 12 people communicating among themselves, or yeah, I like this, that I don't like either.
Yeah.
So I'm not in favor of having that.
Sorry, go ahead, Caroline.
Quickly, does the chat become part of the minutes of the meeting?
That's what we would try to be, that's what we're trying to accomplish with this, is so that there's the comments that are not visible, that could be entered in, unless that person raises their hand and states their comment verbally and is, their name, whatever their comment is, it wouldn't be part of the minutes, it's not going to be recognized, and that ideally it wouldn't even be visible.
Is that part
To
of
be
the
seen.
pinned then, these?
That's what we were saying, we can do that comment and just state that if you're on Zoom and you want to comment, use the raise hand feature to be recognized by the chair, yeah.
And almost a chat would be like if people are chit-chatting in the audience together or step out and have a conversation. It's not ideal and I wouldn't encourage it, but I hate to at least initially completely disable it if there are technical issues or something.
Yeah.
And kind of try to at least give people notice that this is how it's going. I think the policy already did say that members may participate in any media, may not participate in any media via text messaging, instant messaging, email, web chat, or any other technology that would prevent deliberations from being audible to all meeting participants. This just pulls out specifically the Zoom chat piece.
This is a blanket policy, okay, so yeah, in other words, I look at it as being designed to be a blanket policy, so, yeah.
So it sounds like the board is comfortable with the wording with the addition of noting that the chat feature will be disabled from public view.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
So, okay, any other comments, discussion?
Yeah, I have a question through the chair. When we go under procedures, I don't know if this was there before or it's new, but there's a statement here about 3/4 of the way down. The town administrator shall appoint a meeting coordinator to ensure that all bodies that must or wish to allow remote participation do not cause a resource conflict. Can somebody explain that to me, how we're going to, is somebody gonna be paid to do that? Is there gonna be a contract there to do that? How's that gonna be done? My personal feeling is the town administrator has the ability to do that anyways. We don't really need that in here.
Jen, if I may?
Yes, please.
So that is not new, that was in the original policy that was drafted. I think the intention of what it means is our office works with the groups that are looking to have a Zoom because you can only have one Zoom per account in the same time block. So for example, I worked with cable a couple days ago because we've got a couple of joint meetings coming up, same room, same time, different rooms, and we had to coordinate who was going to be on which Zoom account. So that's the extent of what it means, is we're just making sure everybody has a Zoom account that isn't overlapping with another. And that's always been handled by our office.
it's been the office in coordination generally with cable.
Correct.
And it was a bigger issue through COVID when more of the boards and committees were remote, but it's still, to your
Very
point,
much
is
so.
not an issue. And
It doesn't come up as often as it did, you're right. And we did add a third Zoom account, which helped. It's just on those rare occasions, like there's one night where, October 23rd, we have a meeting. Another board has a meeting and we have a public info session. And so we had to coordinate who is going to use what. And so that's all that means. It's nothing more than that. And it's usually a 5-minute thing.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we change the word shall to may. I don't wanna make it mandatory. If the town administrator thinks that it's necessary, then he should be able to do it.
Wouldn't they just be appointing themselves meeting coordinator?
No,
Could I recommend that we don't even have it be an appointment at all, that we just say that the office staff coordinates with the cable department to
Which office staff though? Maybe
Town-
that's the point of it.
I would say town
town
administrator
administrator's office?
office.
I don't think it has to specifically be the town administrator.
then, okay, the town administrator, will coordinate all meetings to ensure that all bodies that must. Just let that fall to him and he can direct after that. I just don't wanna make it to a point where, you know, whoever comes in, it's like, oh, you gotta do this now. You gotta appoint somebody, and I'm not sure that there will be a time when maybe that won't be feasible, that we have to do it. So I wanna be able to be may.
I mean, could we just even, I think this is what Tamika was saying, the town administrator's office will coordinate with cable department, meeting participation, remote meeting participation system and,
So we strike that, we take it out?
just do it more general, that and state that the administrator's office and will work with cable to ensure that there's no crossover between Zoom accounts, essentially is the gist of it. I
Resource
mean,
conflict,
I
yeah.
would argue it doesn't have to be a responsibility of the town administrator. It's like, it's a 5-minute thing and it rarely happens.
Which, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's actually what this is doing. So if it's not gonna be the town administrator, they're appointing somebody to be that meeting coordinator, whether it's the town administrator's office or if it's Joe Schmo down the road. That's exactly what this comment is doing, so I think it's correctly written for the purpose of it.
Well, I will disagree, cause I think it should be may. If he decides he wants to do it, that's fine, he shouldn't be forced to appoint somebody if he wants to do it. The flexibility should, that one word change, town administrator may, that's all I'm looking for.
I think, for me, I think the word shall just means that it needs an intentional, somebody needs to be intentionally aware of the fact that these conflicts can result.
Exactly.
And whether that's a town administrator that appoints themselves, or whether it's them appointing cable, or whether it's the office in coordination with cable, it just needs to be that it ultimately is on the onus of the administrator to ensure that there's no conflicts.
Well, if you say may, it does the same thing.
No, it definitely does not.
Sure it does. It just doesn't force the administrator to do it,
So then who does it?
the town administrator. It says the town administrator may appoint, I'm gonna say may appoint a meeting coordinator, but that falls to him. And he may appoint somebody if he so chooses. He's not forced to appoint somebody. You never know what a town administrator is going to feel or how they're gonna work with other people in terms of forcing them to do something. Just a legal word that says may. And believe me, I've been through shall and may many times in the Second Amendment for the state. So I can tell you there's a definite meaning between those two.
Paul, any thoughts?
I think I have to, in context with the way the statement is written, I kind of have to agree with Harry in the fact that, okay, shall and may have different connotations as far as the look at what is being said here. So in other words, okay, so if we're saying may, then it doesn't make it doesn't make it a hard and fast rule. In other words, okay, if the town administrator feels that, okay, this is something that's a very sensitive issue and so on and so forth, you should appoint someone. If she feels that it's not that sensitive an issue, then it's not necessary.
I mean, we have
I
some.
did not realize that just asking for one word change would cause such a comment on the board for a one word change. I'm sorry it did that.
I mean, I think for me, my push is more that shall means that there needs to be a definite awareness that meeting conflicts can happen, and that needs to be on the radar and onus of currently the administrator. If we say may, an administrator come in and say, well, I could do it, but I don't have to. It could be a free-for-all YOLO who wants to duke it out. And that's why I think the shall is putting the onus on an office to ensure
Make a decision.
that it's there.
Well, I guess my comment to that, Leah, would be that if we have an administrator who doesn't understand the importance of this, and then we're gonna force him to do this, maybe we've hired the wrong administrator then.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to, with whatever changes the board so desires for the policy?
Well, Harry made a motion to change it, so we would first have to see if there's a second on the motion to change shall to may.
Okay, we have a motion.
Yeah.
Do we have a second for that one?
No, we don't.
Okay, so there's a motion with regards to the proposed change with the addition of the visually disabled.
No, the only
No.
motion on the floor is for Harry's motion to change shall to may in the section under procedures. So the old section of the bylaw, or the policy rather.
Okay, so we don't have any motion involving this, okay.
Not yet.
Okay,
Not
alright,
yet.
so there's a motion to change shall to may, okay, got it. Do we have a second?
I can't do a second, I made the motion.
No second,
I'll second the motion.
okay, we have a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion presented? Okay, take a vote, Alex,
Oh, name?
Second, aye.
Whitman, nay?
That's an aye.
Ledger nay. Alright. Is there any other discussion with regards to the updates previously discussed regarding the Zoom chat?
I would make a motion to revise the remote meeting participation policy as presented with the addition of making note that the chat will not be displayed to public meeting. It will remain viewable by cable staff at least for right now.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? Alright, roll call, Alex,
Vote aye.
Second, nay.
Whitman, aye.
That's an aye.
Ledger I. Right. So Tamika, if we can make those updates and if we can circulate that to the committees that generally use Zoom.
Yes, absolutely,
Just
and
so
we'll get
that-
it posted back on the website, and
Thank
we'll
you.
send a copy to you guys as well, just so you have it, 'cause I don't know if you have it already.
And if cable's amenable, I do think, at least in the beginning few times, having essentially this wording copied and pasted, so either it can be pinned as a chat, I don't know how Zoom chat works on an administrator side, if you can pin it as the always viewable for the chat, or just kind of at the start of a meeting, so anytime anybody goes into the chat, they see it, you're not constantly having to.
Yeah, we could definitely pin a comment, if you guys have a specific wording, I don't know if it's like something you want specifically with what was passed, or if you guys wanna write something later, then we'll take care of it.
We'll send you some.
Thank you.
Alright,
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Jacob.
Alright, moving into our last piece for new business, the street acceptance public hearings. We currently have 4 street acceptance requests, or public hearings, I should say, currently scheduled for Monday, October 27th. However, this is to take place after the October 23rd meeting, which is when we'll be meeting jointly with FinCom to review the warrant articles for placement and recommendation. And I know in the past, we have had concerns with placing those articles or making a recommendation when the public hearing has not taken place. So we wanted to kind of get the board's thoughts on if there was potentially interest in scheduling a separate meeting specific, a one-off meeting specific for these public hearings. October 20th has been presented as an option. It's our Monday, or it's our off meeting night. Or we can continue to have it on the 27th and have the discussion at the October 23rd meeting on whether or not the board is comfortable continuing to place the street acceptance articles without the public hearings taking place. Yeah.
I personally think, especially for street acceptance and kind of the history of street acceptance, that it's really important that we have public input for those. I know we've been pushing kind of planning board and everything to give us their recommendations before we do the warrant setting and not just doing placeholders. And so I would really, really like to have public input for all of it, because otherwise it seems like we're doing it just to say we did it and not really value our residents. And I think that that's been one of the big vocal dissents of some of these processes.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree.
All right, so in that case, is the board available or amenable to holding an October 20th meeting specific to the public hearings? So just for scheduling purposes, we have our regular October 14th meeting, which is actually the Tuesday after the long weekend. Then it would be the following Monday for the public hearings, the October 20th, October 23rd, that Thursday for the joint meeting with FinCom, and then again our regularly scheduled meeting for October 27th. So I recognize that it's an additional meeting in a short time frame.
And I think I saw at this point, planning board will have already had their made their recommendation at their October 14th meeting, so that would be public knowledge as far as anybody that attended or watched planning board would know what that is. It wouldn't be officially transmitted to select board at that point yet, or would we have that information at the October 20th meeting? Or could we have it at the October 20th?
Yep, so I communicated with Delia, kindly respected on the board's behalf, requested, that at their October 14th meeting, they make their recommendation, cause then they won't meet again till October 28th. And so the day following the meeting, Delia would be able to transmit a memo to the select board with whatever the board's recommendation is. And just a heads up, I do anticipate that there's gonna be a great deal of public participation. So I think it may actually be a good thing that we have a night just dedicated to this. There's gonna be 126 abutter notifications going out. And there has certainly been some concerns raised at the planning board meeting that I imagine will probably be brought to the select board meeting as well, just as a heads up.
Thank you. Alright, so that sounds like the board's amenable to adding an additional meeting for October 20th, just for the public hearings, for the street acceptance.
Yep.
And
Are we gonna keep it at 6 o'clock?
I would expect so.
Yes, if everybody's okay with that, that's probably the best for timing, cause I think it might take a little bit.
And obviously, we'll have hopefully a Zoom option so that.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So I think what I'll do is I will probably post one of them for 6 o'clock and then the next three for like 6:15, because 3 of them are all within the same subdivision and they actually all have the same abutters. So I'll probably just schedule those for the same time with the understanding that everybody would already be here.
Okay.
As it is.
So I don't think we need a motion or anything, we'll just add that to the schedule.
Yep, it was just a consensus, thank you.
Alright, thank you for accommodating that. right, and that's the end of all of our new business. Are there any future agenda requests for the board? You know, Chief Knipe had mentioned the HR agreement that is in our packets, so everybody take a look at that and we'll look at an upcoming agenda where that fits in, that we can discuss next steps for that. The town planner also reviewing that job description, so that will also be on a future. We have the cannabis equity policy that we're looking, I think that we're looking at our next
Yes.
meeting for that.
Yep, and we also have a nuisance dog hearing scheduled for October 14th as well.
Yeah.
Through the chair. On this Rutland Human Resource Assessment, it was done by CMRPC,
Yes,
okay? Did they write this cover letter?
that's what they provided to us.
Okay, so would the board have any problem with me contacting CMRPC to find out some particulars on this?
It's up to you guys.
No, nobody is, okay.
I think if we can discuss it at a meeting
Would you
first.
like them to zoom in on the meeting to discuss?
I mean, are they gonna
If they're available, I think that would be
We can ask.
helpful to.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so we'll see what agenda we can fit this in on and we'll ask if they have a representative that can
Sure.
attend to
But I
assist
mean,
with
I'd like to
questions.
get some background before we have them here,
Okay.
okay? Just ask questions. I mean, they did the survey, we paid them for it, so.
I mean, I think if any of us, personally, I think if any of us have, we should be kind of collated and sent through, so
Right.
it's not 5 board members contacting 5 different CMRPC reps or employees or whatever. But that, because it maybe we all have very similar questions or concerns, I don't know. So,
Well, I just think personally, I think a board member should have the ability to talk to somebody who's presenting a program to us to find out the information. It shouldn't have to go to committee, it shouldn't, we have to collate stuff. We should be able to do
It's-
that, so.
But it's a
I'm-
public, we need to be able to have all that information available in a public meeting. So if
That's
there's
fine.
questions ahead of time that we could funnel through the office to contact CMRPC and again, funnel all the responses to the entire board. And then again, see if they can attend the meeting to answer questions publicly, I think that's the right way to
Respectfully,
go.
Jen, I disagree, because one question may lead to a follow-up question, may lead to a follow-up question, which if we send a question to the board, that's not gonna work. We need to, if there's questions that need to be asked on this, a board member needs to be able to ask. So if the board says no, the board member does not have the authority to call and talk with somebody that the board has hired to do this. I want that in open session, that the board has disagreed with that philosophy. You cannot, as a board member, you are not gonna be able to talk to them. Because I think I should have or anybody on the board should have the ability to ask a question and then a follow-up and a follow-up if it's necessary, without going through these 27 questions sent through whoever on that. So I'd like to know if you're infringing on my authority to be able to do that.
I don't think we are. I think we're stating that we will have in open session a discussion of what was presented to us and have a CMRPC rep attend to answer questions that the entire board can hear all of the questions and all of the responses. And that
That's
it's not
fine.
just one.
That's fine if the board wants to do that, but I want the ability to talk to them personally.
We can
Okay.
in a scheduled meeting.
No,
In open session.
ahead of time. So,
That's-
as the chair, you're telling me as a board member, I do not have the authority to call CMRPC to discuss any questions I may have had in this report. Because I wanna know that, because that's gonna be a very critical issue for me. That might make me do some other actions.
I am not stating that you don't have the authority. I am stating that as chair of this board, this entire board needs to have the knowledge of all of the discussion associated on a publicly posted agenda item with this item to know what is discussed with the CMRPC regarding what that is. It should happen in an open public meeting,
I agree with
the
you on
entire
that.
board.
I agree with you for the board.
That's what I'm stating, so I'm
Okay,
not
so I
going
still
to,
will have the ability to do that.
I'm not
Okay.
going to police your action, but
Okay.
I am just stating that any discussion should be had in an open meeting with this item on an agenda.
It will. Okay.
All right, any other future agenda requests? Okay. So again, the upcoming board meetings, just to reiterate those, October 14th, which is the Tuesday following Columbus Day. We added in the October 20th for the public hearings for the street acceptance. We have October 23rd, which is the joint meeting with FinCom to review the town meeting warrant articles. And October 27th, regularly scheduled meeting. We have two topics to adjourn to executive session for, so.
Do you want me to?
Yes, and we'll be
Returning to open.
to open session.
I move to adjourn to executive session for reason number 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Subject, contract for acting town administrator, fire chief, Seth Knipe. Subject, discussion considerations for possible contract for treasurer collector. 2, return to open session.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Alex?
Modine?
Second, aye.
Wait a minute.
That's an aye.
Ledger, aye.